Proceedings are resumed. Please be seated.
The Criminal Procedure Code Amendment Bill 2018.
The Honorable the AG, Attorney General.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move the second reading of a bill entitled the Criminal Procedure Code Amendment Bill 2018.
The bill has been duly moved. Does the Honorable mover wish to speak?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Very briefly, the bill has a couple of provisions, and thank you very much. So the bill seeks to amend the code to provide for consistency between procedures in the summer court and procedures in the grand court at the conclusion of a prosecution's case. And it also provides for the transmittal of Category C offenses to the grand court in certain instances. Mr. Speaker, Clause 2 amends Section 70 to make provision for the court to acquit an accused person where, at the close of the prosecution's case, the prosecution has not established a prima facie case. This provision would bring the summer court procedure in line with the grand court. Translation, Mr. Speaker. The usual rule is that the prosecution bears the burden of proof in a criminal trial. And when the prosecution closes its case at what we call halftime, if the court is satisfied that a prima facie case is not made out, or put another way, unless the court is satisfied that a prima facie case is made out, the person should be acquitted at that stage, at halftime. He should not be allowed or required to go on to give evidence in his defense. That is the rule. And that is what obtains in the grand court now. So if a person is on trial in the grand court, Crown offers up its evidence, and at the close of the case for the Crown, the attorney for the defense says to the judge, I am submitting that my client should not be called upon because the prosecution has failed to establish a prima facie case. If the judge agrees with the defense attorney, that person is acquitted at that stage, discharged. In the summer court, because the way Section 70 of the Criminal Procedure Code is worded, there seems to be some uncertainty about the application of that test. And so it is misconstrued sometimes as to whether or not, even if a prima facie case is not made out, the accused can then be required, or may be then required to go into the box and give evidence, basically trying to prove his innocence. And if he does so, and then say something incriminating, then the court can then find him guilty. But in truth, if the prosecution had not made out a prima facie case, the accused should not be required to go into the box and give evidence on his own. And so there's some uncertainty about that application of the test in the summer court. It works well in the grand court. And this came out of a case called Waldron, I think, in the court, where it is clear that different standards or different interpretation is being applied as to what should happen in the magistrate's court when the Crown closes its case. So the effect of Section 70 is to clarify that, like the Grand Court, what should happen is that at the close of the Crown's case in the summer court, unless the magistrate is satisfied that a prima facie case is made out, the accused shouldn't be called upon to state a defense. That is the effect of it. It seems a little bit circular, but that's what it is. And then there's a Section 75, which is the other section dealt with in the bill there, one other provision, Section 75 of the Criminal Procedure Code should make it clear that where the defendant gave evidence and called witnesses, the court can only convict if the court is satisfied beyond a reasonable doubt. And so if you look at the current Section 75, Mr. Speaker, the code, the words beyond a reasonable doubt is missing from there. And so the amendment in the bill, Section 75, seeks to insert the words satisfied beyond a reasonable doubt. So it now reads that the court, having heard both the prosecutor and the accused person and their witnesses, shall either convict the accused and pass sentence, and so on and so forth. We're changing that to say, the court, having heard both the prosecutor and the accused person and their witnesses, shall either convict the accused if satisfied beyond a reasonable doubt, and then pass sentence. So we're clarifying that position in Section 75. And in respect of Section 70, we're trying to make it quite clear that the accused person in the magistrate's court can only be, or should only be called upon to state a defense if the magistrate is satisfied at the end of the Crown's case that a prima facie case is made out. In other words, is there enough evidence here? Is there enough evidence here to cause me to call upon the accused person to state his defense? If there's not enough evidence, that's the end of it. The court should acquit him and send him home. And so that's the effect of those provisions as it relates to 70 and 75. I hope I've made that quite clear. The other provision, Mr. Speaker, we thought we had dealt with that. Some time ago in 2010 or 2011, I think it is, we passed an amendment here. Tell you when that was. The Criminal Procedure Code Amendment, Bill 2010, number 2. We did some amendments to the Criminal Procedure Code at the time, and we thought that we had made it elusively clear that where a person is charged with a Category A offense, murder, rape, etc., I think we use Estella Scott as one of those answers. Where a person is charged with a Category A offense, and that person, having been charged, if they are summary only offenses that arise or out of the same factual circumstances, say person is charged for murder, arrested and charged for murder. During all of that, the person was, when the police went to arrest him, he was caught with some, say, ganja, or he assaulted the police during the arrest, which is a summary only offense. The effect of that amendment was that all of those matters would go up to the Grand Court and be dealt with one time, instead of having some dealt with in the Grand Court and the summary matter remaining in the summary court, in the magistrate's court. So we thought we had done that. But the way the language was used, it says where the person has been charged with a Category A offense and can be, and is also charged with another offense that can be tried either in the summary court or in the Grand Court, in other words, either way. The court is interpreting that to say the only offenses that can be transmitted up to the Grand Court with a Category A offense is what we call a Category B offense, not the Category C, not the pure summary offenses. So not the resisting arrest if he's charged for murder and police pick him up or something. Not those. Those have to stay in the summary court. So the court have been interpreting it to say you will have, in those circumstances, you have to have two sets of hearing. You dealt with him in the Grand Court for the Category offenses, and the Category C offenses still has to remain in the summary court. That was not what we had intended in 2010. We thought we had made it clear then that all the offenses must be transmitted up to the Grand Court and dealt with this one trial, save time, expenses, everything. So because the court is taking that position that it is not clear, we have to come back here to make it quite clear that where a person is charged with a Category A offense and arising out of the same factual circumstances, they are some category C offenses, then those category C offenses should also be transmitted to the Grand Court right away and be dealt with up there in one fell swoop, not two sets of trials. That is the effect of the provision there. And so I hope I made it quite clear to colleagues. It seems a little bit kind of circular, but in a nutshell, that's what it is. So, sorry, sorry, Mr. Speaker. So I hope I've clarified the position here for colleagues, and I'll commend the bill to members.
Does any member wish to speak? Any other member? The member from East End.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I approach these things from a practical perspective and memory, in that the Attorney General spoke about the prosecution bears burden of proof. And the uncertainty of the application tests. I wonder what happens to the inference that we did here some time ago, that we, at the time where the court can infer guilt. How does that tie in with the prosecution's burden of proof in this case? And secondly, are we removing the opportunity for the defense to submit a no case? Yes. That's what I want him to answer. And are we transitioning the burden to the magistrate now to determine whether at that stage that a prima facie case has been proven? Because under the old provision, even if it wasn't a reasonable doubt, they could declare that there was a case to answer to. And the defense could, at the same time, I believe, submit a no case, to make a no case submission. And I hear the Attorney General when he says that if the person goes in the stand, despite a prima facie case not being proven, and he makes a statement, he could get convicted on his own accord, really. But then we have the provision for inference as well. So that is a little confusing. And the other thing that this bill, I do not believe, makes provision for, and the Attorney General may be able to tell us, I don't see any transitional provisions in here. Or is there no need for it? Because I am sure there are cases currently pending that this would affect. And I really don't see any transitional provisions in here like is usually done. So if the Attorney General can explain that, we understand what is, as a matter of fact, hopefully it's in the best interest of, and we know about the Wall Run case as well, but hopefully this will assist with people who, and we have seen so many of those where it becomes a contention as to whether or not the police or the prosecution did a good job. So this now places the responsibility on the magistrate to ensure that accused are not treated, so to speak, unfairly. So if the Attorney General could just explain those areas for us, then we would be satisfied.
Does any other member wish to speak? Does any other member wish to speak? If not, the Honorable Attorney General, do you wish to reply?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thanks to the honourable member for raising the point, or the issues, sorry. Mr. Speaker, just to reiterate that in a criminal trial, the burden of proof rests on the prosecution throughout, and it doesn't shift. So from beginning to end, unless the statute says otherwise, then the burden is on the prosecution. And even where the statute might say that the defendant now bears a burden, depending on the type of case, and I'll give you an example. License case, driver's license, or one of those licensing cases. Usually, those are cases where the accused person would know whether or not he has a license. And so the prosecution should be required to prove that. They must find out, say whether they have a license or not. I think that's an example that we can use. I'll need to double check. But that is the position as it relates to the burden of proof. Now, he mentioned about the inferences, and I thought you meant, well, I suspect he's speaking about adverse inferences. Yes. Right. So we did pass a provision, I think it's an amendment to the evidence law, I think it was. One of those, police law. Police law, I think it was. Which says that where a person is arrested for an offense and then eventually charged, if at the time of the arrest there are material that are matters that he could have raised when he was being interviewed, matters that he could have raised in his defense, and for whatever reason he chose not to, right? And then he goes to trial. Then the court takes the view that if it was reasonable to expect him to tell the police these things when he was interviewed, and he didn't do so, and worse yet, if he gets to trial and there's a prima facie case, and he still hasn't said anything, the court is within its right to say to the jury, or if it's a judge alone, to draw the inference that the reason why you didn't say that is because in your mind there might have been some sort of a apprehension of some kind of a guilty knowledge. And to use a caveat, I'm speaking from memory now. I don't have the law in front of me. Okay. But it is words to that effect, that the judge can instruct the jury that you may draw an adverse inference against him because from the silence. Because in the ordinary course of things, it would have been reasonable for the person to offer up these explanations, and he didn't do that. The question is why he didn't do that. Now, it is true that he may not have done it for any number of reasons. Right, might still be frightened and all sort of thing. But it's for the court to then issue the necessary warning to the jury about how to treat that adverse inference. In other words, you can't just use that alone to convict him, but you can use that to buttress or supplement other things. And so you can't just use the silence alone to convict him. So that applies, Grand Court and Summary Court. And this doesn't change that, to answer your question. This is not changing all of that.
Yeah, but will the prosecutor, if the prosecution be able to bring that in when the judge, when the magistrate is saying this is not a prima facie case, then the prosecution will use adverse inference.
No, the prosecution will still, no, can't just use that alone to send him onto trial. The prosecution have to establish the other ingredients of the offenses before he can invoke that. And so you can't just use that alone. So, well, listen, he didn't say anything, so I'm going to call upon him. Can't do that. And so that still remains a position. And of course, your other question is that the amendment still preserves the opportunity for the defendant to make a no-case submission. That is not being disturbed either. So if at the end of the close of the case for the Crown, the defense attorney takes the view that the prosecution has not proven certain element of the offense or has not put enough evidence before the court to raise a prima facie case, he's still entitled to make his no-case submission. And if the court found that he's correct in that, he has to end the case right there and discharge the person.
So the onus is not on the magistrate to determine if the defense can make that submission?
The defense can make that submission, is at liberty to. And most defense counsel will tell you that 9 out of, probably not so high, but 8 out of 10 times, they don't believe that they will succeed, but nothing is wrong. Nothing is wrong with trying it. It might just work. And so you might just get lucky. And then as to transitional provision, good spot. I was just speaking to legislative drafter. Some time ago, I can say that I sent a note to them to say that when you're doing bills, you must always go back to the instructed ministerial agency to find out what sort of transitional provision you would like to have in this bill. In other words, when shall these provisions take effect? Does the law apply to persons who are already in the system, or should it be applicable to persons only after this law is passed? We must confess that in this case that was not done. And I think it ought to be in there, so we apologize for that.
Yeah, because it is good for some parts, but bad for others.
Yeah, so Mr. Speaker, to the member, it was a good spot. And we will seek leave of the court to ad-lib a very simple transitional provision. Leave, just coming from across the street, I'm sorry. Sorry. I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker. And seek leave of the chair at the appropriate time. I'm sorry, sir. That's what happened. We'll seek leave of the court at the appropriate time under section, I think it's 52, to ad-lib a simple transitional provision, thank you, Mr. Member, to say that this law will apply to persons who are charged after the date that it comes into effect. Will only apply to persons charged after the date that this law comes into effect, with the leave of the committee at that stage. So those are my submissions, so thank you. And
you could do two transitions. For the one for transmitter, you could say after, and the other one, no, you could say in a case that is now before.
yeah, but I find sometimes people come back to you to find out what this means. So I think probably just to do a clean cut-off and start date. And we take it from there. So Mr. Speaker, thanks to honourable members for the support, and I commend the bill to the House. Thank you.
The question is that the Criminal Procedure Code Amendment Bill 2018 be given a second reading. All those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. The Criminal Procedure Code Amendment Bill 2018 has been given a second reading, and we'll now proceed to committee stages on these bills. Quite a bit of bills, so let's be judicious in committee.
Mr. Speaker,
The Premier.
Mr. Speaker, I believe that with respect to the last two bills, the whistleblower bill and the Criminal Procedure Code Amendment Bill, that both of those only received their first reading today.
Sorry? Sorry, I didn't get that.
I believe, sir, that the last two bills that we've taken only received their first readings this morning. So it's the public authorities, right, and the whistleblower. And therefore, at the appropriate point, I will need to move the suspension of the relevant standing order to enable three readings of the bill to take place in the course of one day. And I just wanted you to be aware of that, sir. Whichever one it is, yes. At the end of committee stage.
To committee. The House is now in committee. Please be seated. I think the The House is now in committee, and with the leave of the House, we assume that, as usual, we will authorize the Attorney General to correct minor errors and such the like in these bills. Clerk will now state the bill and move forward with the bills as they are on order paper.
The Immigration Amendment Bill 2018. Clause 1, short title and commencement. Clause 2, amendment of Section 2 of the Immigration Law 2015 revision, definitions. Clause 3, amendment of the principal law, insertion of Section 3A. Clause 4, amendment of Section 19, rules relating to appeals. Clause 5, amendment of Section 22, acquisition of the right to be Caymanian by grant of the board. Clause 4, amendment of Section 23, persons who may apply to the chief immigration officer for the right to be Caymanian. Clause 7, amendment of Section 29, categories of permanent residence. Clause 8, amendment of Section 30, persons legally and ordinary resident in the island for at least 8 years. Clause 9, amendment of Section 31, residence and employment right certificate for the spouse of a Caymanian.
Question is, clauses 1 to 9 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye. Those against, the ayes have it. Clauses 1 to 9 stands part of the bill.
Clause 10, amendment of section 32, dependents of residency and employment right certificate holders. Clause 11, amendment section 33, loss of residency and employment rights certificate. Clause 12, amendment of section 37C, certificate for specialist caregivers. Clause 13, amendment of section 84, application for asylum. Clause 14, assertion of section 84E, procedure for appeals. Clause 15, amendment of section 100, directions to board and chief immigration officer. Clause 16, amendment of section 101, power to put questions and require production of document.
Question is that clauses 10 through 16 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. Premier, you don't have no amendments to this bill, right? No. No?
It's a substantial amendment.
On 17?
Yes, the transitional provision.
Okay. The question is that to set 6 to 10 to 16. You should. Okay.
Clause 17, transitional provisions.
Honorable Premier, an amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, in accordance with the provisions of Standing Order 52, 1 and 2, I, the Premier and Minister for Human Resources, Immigration and Community Affairs, give notice to move the following amendments to the Immigration Amendment Bill 2018. That the bill be amended by deleting Clause 17 and in its entirety and substituting the following clause. Transitional 17(1). A person who prior to the commencement of this law is in possession of residency and employment rights certificate is, upon the commencement of this law, taken to have been issued such certificate subject to the terms and conditions of the principal law, as well as those terms and conditions under the principal law which are amended by Section 8 of this law. 2, where prior to the commencement of this law, an application has been submitted for the grant or renewal of a certificate for a specialist caregiver under the principal law, or an appeal has been made against a refusal to grant such a certificate, and that application or appeal has not been determined at the date of the commencement of this law, the application or appeal shall be determined in accordance with this law. Subsection 3, where prior to the commencement of this law, an appeal relating to an application for asylum was filed, the appeal shall be dealt with as if this law had not come into force. Subsection 4, where prior to the commencement of this law, an application has been submitted under the principal law for the grant of the right to be Caymanian under Section 22(9) or 23 of the principal law, or an appeal had been made under Section 22(13) of the principal law, and the application or the appeal has not been determined at the date of the commencement of this law, the application shall be determined in accordance with this law.
The amendment has been duly moved. Does any member wish to speak thereto? If not, the question is that the amendment stand part of the clause. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, The ayes have it. The amendment stands part of the clause. The question now is that clause 17 as amended stand part of the bill. The question, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? Clause 17 as amended is part of the bill. The question is that clause 17 as amended stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? The ayes have it. The clause as amended stands part of the bill.
A bill for a law to amend the Immigration Law 2015 revision in order to provide for amendments to the grant of residency and employment rights certificate, to extend the powers of the Chief Immigration Officer to the Workforce Opportunities and Residency Cayman Department, to provide for amendments to the right to apply for exemptions for specialist caregivers, to take away the time limit for certain persons to apply for the right to be Caymanian, to provide for the establishment of a tribunal to hear appeals against the refusal of applications for asylum, to provide for the procedure for carrying out appeals to the tribunal, and for incidental and connected purposes.
The question is that the title do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye. Those against? The ayes have it. This title stands part of the bill. The question is that the bill be reported to the House. Not yet.
The Advanced Passenger Information Bill 2018, Clause 1, short titling commencement. Clause 2, interpretation. Clause 3, duty to provide advanced passenger information. Clause 4, time frame. Clause 5, powers of competent authority to verify. Clause 6, vessel or aircraft arriving for non-traffic purposes or making a technical stop. Clause 7, powers and duties of the competent authority. Clause 8, use and sharing of API with regional and international security agencies. Clause 9, retention of API. 10, regulations. 11, amendment of the schedules.
Which one? The question is that clauses 1 to 11 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those against? The ayes have it. Clauses 1 to 11 stands part of the bill.
A bill for a law to facilitate the provisions of advanced passenger information relating to passengers and crew members of an aircraft or vessel, to share the information with other states with a view to identifying persons who may pose risk to security and for incidental and connected purposes.
The question is that the title do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those against? The ayes have it. The title do stand part of the bill.
The National Honors and Awards Amendment Bill 28.
We didn't do that. No. Premier. Inadvertently on the agenda, but that was withdrawn. We move to the next one. Utility regulation.
The Utility Regulation and Competition Amendment Bill 2018, Clause 1, short titling commencement. Clause 2, amendment of Section 2, interpretation. Clause 3, amendment of Section 14, structure of board. Clause 4, amendment of Section 17, duties of chair and deputy chair. Clause 5, amendment of Section 23, procedure and meetings. Clause 6, amendment of Section 28, appointment of chief executive officer. Clause 7, amendment of Section 29, executive members. Clause 8, amendment of Section 30, chief executive officer and executive directors. Clause 9, validity and continuation of appointments. Clause 10, validity of acts.
The question is that clauses 1 through 10 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye. Those against, the ayes have it. Clauses 1 through 10 stands part of the bill.
A bill for a law to amend Utility Regulation and Competition Law 2018 revision to make certain provisions consistent with the Public Authorities Law 2017, Law 21 of 2017, and for incidental and connected purposes.
The question is that the title do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye. Those against, the ayes have it. The title stands part of the bill.
The Information and Communication Technology Amendment Bill 2018, Clause 1, short title. Clause 2, repeal and substitution of Section 100 of the Information and Communications Technology Law 2017 revision, conflict of laws.
The question is that clauses 1 and 2 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye. Those against, the ayes have it. Clauses 1 and 2 do stand part of the bill.
A bill for a law to amend the Information and Communication Technology Law 2017 revision to ensure that the law is subject to the Public Authorities Law 2017 and for incidental and connected purposes.
The question is that the title do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye. Those against, the ayes have it. The title stands part of the bill.
The Traffic Amendment Bill 2018. Clause 1, short title and commencement. Take that, 'cause there's an amendment to clause 1.
The question is that clauses 1 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye. Those against, the ayes have it. Clause 1 stands part of the bill. We do have some amendments.
Clause 2, amendment of Section 2 of the Traffic Law 2011, Law 26 of 2011, interpretation. There's an amendment to that.
There is an amendment by the Honorable Minister.
Mr. Chairman, in accordance with the provisions of Standing Order 52(1) and 2, I, the Honorable Minister of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure, give notice to move the following amendments to the Traffic Amendment Bill 2018. 1, that the bill be amended in Clause 2 as follows. By brackets A, by deleting paragraph brackets C and substituting the following paragraph. Inverted commas bracket C by deleting the definition of inverted commas resident and substituting the following definition. Inverted commas resident means a person who has permission to stay in the island for a period of 6 months or more. Inverted comma, semicolon, and brackets B by deleting paragraph brackets D and substituting the following paragraph. Inverted commas brackets D by deleting the definition of inverted commas visitor and substituting the following definition. Inverted commas visitor means a person who, brackets A, has been granted permission to stay in the island for a period not exceeding 6 months, semicolon, or, brackets B, does not reside in the islands but has permission to stay in the islands for a period of more than 6 months, inverted commas.
The question is that clause 2 as amended Sorry, amendment. The question is that amendment do stand part of the clause. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it, the amendment stands part of the clause. The question is that clause 2 as amended stand part of the bill.
Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? Question clause next. The minister, see what he's trying to say? Yeah. They shouldn't, but they shouldn't. Listen, you got the question in the clause 2 as amended stand part of the bill. Nobody speaks. The chairman says the question is again, is that it?
It's almost a duplication. Nobody says anything, you don't really have to go through that part.
Okay.
Yeah. Unless it's a debate.
So we go back now. Clause 2.
Yeah, we're finished with clause 2. We took the vote on clause 2 as amended, stand part of the bill. We just took the vote on that.
Yes, okay.
So we back to clause 3. Clause 3, general amendment. Clause 4, amendment of section 6, registration of vehicles and third-party risk. Clause 5, amendment of section 8, registration plates. Clause 6, amendment of section 9, altercation of particulars to be recorded in the register and certificate of registration. Clause 7, amendment of section 10, termination of vehicle registration. Clause 8, amendment of section 11, importation and use of certain vehicles restricted. Clause 9, repeal and substitution of section 13, liability to pay fees and exemption from payment. 3 to 9.
The question is that clauses 3 through 9 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. Clauses 3 through to 9 stands part of the bill.
Clause 10, amendment of section 14, commencement and duration of licenses, rate of fees. Is an amendment.
We do have an amendment.
Yes, sir.
Minister?
Mr. Chairman, that the bill be amended in clause 10, brackets B, by deleting subsection brackets 2A.
That's it. The amendment has been duly moved. Does any member wish to speak? The question then is, the amendment stand part of the clause. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. The amendment stands part of the clause. The question now is, that clause, the clause as amended stands part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. The clause as amended stands part of the bill.
Clause 11, amendment of section 15, continuous liability for suspension of vehicle license. Clause 12, amendment of section 18, special permit. Clause 13, amendment of section 21, trade plates.
The question is that clauses 11, 12, 13 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. Clauses 11 through 13 stands part of the bill.
Clause 14, amendment of section 22, regulation under this part. The Honourable Minister has an amendment.
Yes.
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That the bill be amended in clause 14 by deleting paragraph bracket C and by substituting the following paragraph bracket C, inverted commas, bracket C in paragraph brackets N, subsection 1, by deleting the full stop and substituting a semicolon, and 2, by inserting the word inverted commas and after the semicolon, inverted commas.
The amendment has been duly moved. Does any member wish to speak? If no member wishes to speak, the question is that the amendment stand part of the clause. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. The amendment stands part of the clause. The question is that the clause as amended stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. The clause as amended stands part of the bill.
Clause 15, insertion of Part 2A, electronic vehicle registration. Clause 16, amendment of Section 25, qualification to drive. Clause 17, amendment of Section 28, new residents and certain visitors may be authorized to drive, international driver's license. 15 to 17.
The question is that clauses 15 through to 17 stands part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. The amendments and the clauses 15 through 17 stands part of the bill.
Clause 18, amendment of Section 29, driving test for new residents.
Clause 18. Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That the bill be amended in clause 18, brackets E, by inserting after the word inverted commas written the words inverted comma where that word appears for the second time, inverted comma.
The amendment has been duly moved. Does any member wish to speak? If not, the question is that the amendment stands part of the clause. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. The amendment stands part of the clause. The question now is that clause as amended stands part of the bill. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. The clause as amended stands part of the bill.
Clause 19, insertion of new Section 29A, international driver's license permits. Clause 20, amendment of Section 30, saving of licenses and tests under the repeal law. Clause 21, amendment of Section 41, duration of driver's license. Clause 22, amendment of Section 45, establishment of public transport board. Clause 23, amendment of Section 47, permits for omnibus and taxi drivers. Clause 24, amendment of hidden to Part 5, special electric vehicles. Clause 25, amendment of Section 53, restrictions on use of special electric vehicles. Clause 26, amendment of Section 54, special permit for use of special electric vehicles. Clause 27, amendment of Section 55, requirement for registration of special electric vehicles. Clause 28, amendment of Section 62, issue of certificate of roadworthiness. Clause 29, amendment of Section 63, annual inspection of vehicles.
The question is that clauses 19 through 29 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. The clauses 19 to 29 stands part of the bill.
Clause 30, insertion of new Section 77A, dangerous, careless, reckless, or antisocial driving of motorcycles or moped. Clause 31, amendment of Section 94, ticket procedure. Clause 32, amendment of Section 106, regulation under this part. Clause 33, amendment of section 113, removal of vehicles to pound, etc. Clause 34, amendment of section 123, registration of drive-in instructors. Clause 35, transitional provisions.
The question is that clauses 30 through 35 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye. Those against, the ayes have it. Clauses 30 to 35 stands part of the bill.
A bill for a law to amend the traffic law 2011 to regulate motorized bicycles as pedal cycles, to provide visitors driving permits for persons who have been granted permission to stay in the island for more than 6 months but do not reside here, to permit insurers to assist in updating the register, to require owners to pay fines and to pay fines and arrears of fees before transferring their vehicles, to limit the accrual of back fees for unlicensed vehicles to 1 year, to prohibit the registration of public passenger vehicles imported contrary to the prohibited goods order, to permit the importation of mokes or mini-mokes, to empower constables to seize motorcycles or mopeds used in a dangerous, reckless, or antisocial manner, to provide for the issuance of licenses for 5 years for new vehicles, to permit visitors and new residents licensed in convention countries to drive in the island without a permit for 6 months, and those licensed in non-convention countries to drive for 1 month, to provide for the quarterly issue of trade plates, to allow renewal of driver's license during the 6 months before their expiry, to allow persons to choose to have their driver's license expire on their birthday, to permit the ambiguous all-terrain vehicles to be driven on designated routes at speeds of 35 miles per hour or less, to establish periods of roadworthiness for vehicles, to implement the electronic vehicle registration system, and for incidental and connected matters.
The question is that the title do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. The title stands part of the bill.
The Liquor Licensing Amendment Bill 2018, Clause 1, short titling commencement.
The question is that clause 1 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. Clause 1 stands part of the bill.
Clause 2, amendment of Section 2 of the Liquor Licensing Law 2016 revision, definitions.
Honorable Minister.
Mr.
There
Chairman,
is an
in
amendment.
accordance with the provision of Standing Order 52(1) and 2, I, the Honorable Minister of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure, give notice to move the following amendments to the Liquor Licensing Amendment Bill 2018. That the bill be amended in Clause 2 as follows. A, by deleting the definition of inverted commas mobile bar, and by substituting the following definition. Inverted commas mobile bar means A, movable structure used by a licensee for the disposal of intoxicating liquors to the public, semicolon, or B, a structure located in premises where 1, such structure or premises are not owned, comma, operated or managed by a licensee, semicolon, but 2, the structure is used by that licensee for the disposal of intoxicating liquors to the public, semicolon, inverted commas, semicolon, and. B, in paragraph in paragraph brackets C, comma, by deleting the semicolon and the word inverted brackets and at the end of the paragraph, and by substituting a full stop.
The amendment has been duly moved. Does anyone wish to speak thereto? If no member wishes to speak, the question is that the amendment stands part of the clause. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. The amendment stands part of the clause. The question now is that the clause as amended stands part of the bill. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. The clause as amended stands part of the bill.
Clause 3, insertion of new section 4A, policy directions. Clause 4, amendment of section 7, nature of a license. Clause 5, amendment of section 8, qualifications of a licensee. Clause 6, amendment of section 9, requirements for licensed premises. Clause 7, amendment of section 10, categories of licenses. Clause 8, amendment of section 11, hours for sale of alcoholic liquor.
The question is that clauses 3 to 8 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, no. The ayes have it. Clauses 3 through to 8 stands part of the bill.
A bill to amend the liquor licensing law 2016 revision. The board, to broaden the board's powers to permit Sunday opening of licensed premises, to provide for Cabinet to give policy directions to the board and the performance of its functions, to reduce the number of categories of licenses and amend the definition of retail, temporary, and restaurant licenses, to permit licenses to be granted to registered nonprofit organizations, to allow the board to waive fees for certain temporary or occasional licenses, to authorize Cabinet to set additional fees by regulation, and for incidental and connected matters.
The question is that the title do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. The title stands part of the bill.
The Music and Dancing Control Amendment Bill 2018, Clause 1, short title. Clause 2, General Amendment of the Music and Dancing Control Law 2012 of revision. Clause 3, Amendment of Section 2, definitions.
The question is that clauses 1 through to 3 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye. Those
Aye.
against, no. The ayes have it. Clauses 1 through to 3 stands part of the bill.
Clause 4 in section 2A, application.
52.2.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In accordance with the provisions of Standing Order 52.1 and 2, I, the Honorable Minister of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure, give notice to move the following amendments to the Music and Dancing Control Amendment Bill 2018. That the bill be amended by deleting Clause 4 and substituting the following clause. 2A, brackets 1, this law does not apply to the following premises. A, premises licensed for public film exhibition under the Film Exhibition Control Law, 2015, semicolon. B, areas in hotels which are not open to the general public and with respect to which no charge is made for admission, semicolon, and C, town halls, community centers, comma, theaters, comma, churches, comma, schools, comma, parks, comma, public squares and other venues where members of the general public gather for performances of music, comma, dance or drama. Brackets 2, the exemption under subsection brackets 1 applies to premises under subsection brackets 1 brackets C only where the performances of music, dance, or drama are presented primarily for artistic, comma, cultural, or religious purposes, comma, rather than for profit, full stop, inverted commas.
The amendment has been duly moved. Does any member wish to speak? If not, the question is, that the amendment stand part of the clause. All those in favor, please say aye. Those against? The ayes have it. The amendment stands part of the clause. The question now is that the clause as amended stands part of the bill. All those in favor? Those
Aye.
against? The ayes have it. The clause as amended stands part of the bill.
Clause 5, amendment of section 3, certain premises required to be licensed for music and dancing.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I have the committee stage amendments, but I also seek the leave of the chair under Standing Order 52-2
Right here.
to also make
Hold on, one piece.
some changes without the notice period.
So,
So that the bill be amended in clause 5C by deleting section 3(3) inserted by that clause and substituting the following: inverted commas, brackets 3, notwithstanding subsection brackets 1, brackets C, comma, a board may, brackets. And then, Mr. Chair, I'd like to delete the words, "we're satisfied that it is in the public interest to do so." Permit dancing or the playing of music in licensed premises, comma, subject to such conditions as the board may, in each particular case, determine during the following hours. A, where New Year's Eve falls on a Saturday, comma, from midnight of that day until 2 a.m. the following morning, semicolon, and B, where New Year's Eve falls on a Sunday, comma, from 10 p.m. until midnight of that day. 4, the hours covered by permission granted under subsection brackets 3 are deemed to be permitted hours for the purposes of this law, period, inverted commas, period.
The amendments have been duly moved. Does any member wish to speak thereto? If no member wishes to speak, the question is that the amendments stand part of the clause. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? The ayes have it. The amendment stands part of the clause. The question is that the clause as amended stands part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? The ayes have it. The clause as amended stands part of the bill.
Clause 6, amendment of section 9, extension of permitted hours. Clause 7, amendment of section 11, licensed premises to be open for inspection. Clause 8, insertion of Section 11A, duties and powers of trade officers, Section 11B, powers and duties of the Commissioner and Director, and 11C, abstraction of a trade officer, the Director, or the Commissioner. Clause 9, amendment of Section 12, fee schedule. Clause 10, amendment of Section 14, regulations.
The question is that the clauses 6 through to 10 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? The ayes have it. Clauses 6 through 10 stands part of the bill.
A bill to amend the Music and Dancing Control Law 2012 revision to broaden the exemptions from the law, to give the board discretion to permit music and dancing on Sunday, where New Year Eve falls on a Saturday or Sunday, to permit the board to waive fees for certain occasional license, to provide for the administration and enforcement of law by trade officers, the police, and the director of the Department of Commerce and Investment, and for incidental and connected matters.
The question is that the title do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? The ayes have it. The title stands part of the bill.
The Cadet Corps Amendment Bill 2018, Clause 1, short title. Clause 2, amendment of Section 28 of the Cadet Corps Law 2016 revision, composition of committee. Clause 3, amendment of Section 29 of the Cadet Corps Law 2016 revision, terms of office of committee.
The question is that the clauses 1, 2, and 3 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? The ayes have it. The clauses 1 through 3 stands part of the bill.
A bill for law to amend the Cadet Corps Law 2016 revision to remove the existing term limit for the position of chairman of the Cadet Corps Committee, to change the responsibility for appointments in relation to the Cadet Corps Committee from the Governor to Cabinet, and for incidental and connected matters.
The question is that the title do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye. Those against? The ayes have it.
The Disaster Preparedness and Hazard Management Amendment Bill 2018, Clause 1, short title. Clause 2, amendment of Section 2 of the Disaster Preparedness and Hazard Management Law 2016, Law 46 of 2016, definitions. Clause 3, insertion of Section 4A, establishment of the National Disaster Fund. Clause 4, amendment of Section 6, responsibilities of the Director.
The question is that clauses 1 through 4 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? The ayes have it. Clauses 1 through to 4 stands part of the bill.
Clause 5, amendment of Section 8, National Emergency Notification System.
Honorable Minister.
Yes, Mr. Chair. In accordance with the provisions of Standing Order 52.1 and 2, I, the Honorable Tara Rivers, Minister responsible for Financial Services and Home Affairs, give notice to move the following amendments to the Disaster Preparedness and Hazard Management Amendment Bill 2018, that the bill be amended as follows. In Clause 5B, by deleting the words, inverted commas, the governor, inverted commas, wherever these words appear, and substituting the words, inverted commas, a chairman of the management executive, inverted commas.
The question is that The amendment, sorry, has been moved. Does any member wish to speak thereto? If no member wishes to speak, the question is that the amendment stands part of the clause. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. The amendment stands part of the clause. The question now is that the clause as amended stands part of the bill. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. The clause as amended stands part of the bill.
Clause 6, amendment of section 14, National Hazard Management Executive and Council.
The question is that clause 6 stands part of the bill. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. Clause 6 do now stand part of the bill.
Clause 7, amendment of the schedule, organization and composition of Management Executive and Management Council.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That the bill be amended as follows. In clause 7, by deleting paragraph B and substituting the following paragraph, inverted commas, B, in part A, in paragraph 3 as follows. 1, in subparagraph A, by deleting the words, inverted commas, chairman, inverted commas, after the word, inverted commas, governor, inverted commas. 2, in subparagraph G, by deleting the words, inverted commas, of home affairs, inverted commas, and substituting the words, inverted commas, with responsibility for the Department of Hazard Management, Cayman Islands, inverted commas. And by inserting after subparagraph K, the following, inverted commas, L, all ministers of cabinet, comma, and shall be chaired by the governor and the premier, semicolon, and inverted commas.
The amendment has been duly moved. Does anyone wish to speak? If not, the question is that the amendment do stand part of the clause. All those in favor, please say aye.
What? Sorry, Mr. Chair.
7.
Thank you for that brief intermission there, Mr. Chair. I just had to clarify something, but we're good to go.
Satisfied with the amendment?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So the amendment has been accepted, and I thought I did put a question on the amendment, that the amendment stands part of the clause. We have agreed on that. We have agreed on that, AG? Oh, let me re-put that word in. The question is that the amendment stands part of the clause. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. The amendment stands part of the clause. The question of that clause as amended stands part of the bill. All in favor?
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. The clause as amended stands part of the bill.
Clause 8, insertion of Schedule 2, composition of the National Disaster Fund.
The question is Clause 8 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. Clause 8 stands part of the bill.
A bill for a law to amend the Disaster Preparedness and Hazard Management Law 2016, Law 46 of 2016, to amend certain definitions, to establish a National Disaster Fund, and to provide for notification of sudden onset events and for incidental and connected purposes.
The question is that the title do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. The title stands part of the bill.
The Electricity Sector Regulation Amendment Bill 2018, Clause 1, short title. Clause 2, repeal and substitution of Section 92 of the Electricity Sector Regulation Law 2018 revision, conflict with other laws.
The question is that clauses 1 and 2 stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. Clauses 1 and 2 stands part of the bill.
A bill for a law to amend the Electricity Sector Regulation Law 2018 revision to ensure that the law is subject to the Public Authorities Law 2017 and for incidental and connected matters.
The question is that the title do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. The title stands part of the bill.
The Water Sector Regulation Amendment Bill 2018, Clause 1, short title. Clause 2, amendment of paragraph 5.7 of the schedule to the Water Sector Regulation Law 2017, Law 16 of 2017, promotion of transparency.
The question is that clause 1 and 2 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. Clauses 1 and 2 stands part of the bill.
A bill for a law to amend the Water Sector Regulation Law 2017 by removing in the schedule to the law the references to appeal which are properly provided for under the authority of the overarching Utility Regulation and Competition Law 2018 revision.
The question is that the title do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. The title stands part of the bill.
The Water Authority Amendment Bill 2018, Clause 1, short title and commencement. Clause 2, amendment of Section 3, establishment and constitution of Water Authority. Clause 3, amendment of Section 4, appointment of staff. Clause 4, amendment of the schedule, constitution and procedure of the authority. Clause 5, validity and continuation of appointments. Clause 6, validity of acts.
The question is that clauses 1 through to 6 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. Clauses 1 through 6 stands part of the bill.
A bill for a law to amend the Water Authority Law 2018 revision to make certain provisions consistent with the Public Authorities Law 2017 and for incidental and connected purposes.
The question is that the title do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye. Those against, the ayes have it. The title stands part of the bill.
The Conditional Release Amendment Bill 2018. Clause 1, short title. Clause 2, amendment of Section 4 of the Conditional Release Law 2014, Establishment and Procedure of Board. Clause 3, insertion of new Section 12A, change in material circumstances. Clause 4, amendment of Section 14, release of life prisoners.
The question is that clauses 1 through to 4 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? The ayes have it. Clauses 1 through 4 stands part of the bill.
A bill for a law to amend the Conditional Release Law 2014, Law 18 of 2014, to provide for the appointment of a temporary chairperson, to provide for the removal of a board member for non-attendance at meetings, to provide for the power for the board to reconsider a decision to release a prisoner unlicensed where the board receives new information, to provide for whole life tariffs and for incidental and connected purposes.
The question is that the title do stands part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye. Those against? The ayes have it. The title stands part of the bill.
Making good ground.
The Trade Union Amendment Bill 2018. Clause 1, short title. Clause 2, amendment of the Trade Union Law 1998 revision, substitution of cabinet for governor and governing council. Clause 3, amendment of Section 21 of the Trade Union Law 1998 revision, statement of accounts and audit certificate to be transmitted to registrar.
The question is that clauses 1, 2, and 3 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? The ayes have it. Clauses 1, 2, and 3 stands part of the bill.
A bill for a law to amend the Trade Union Law 1998 revision to remove the requirement for an auditor to be approved by the governor and to provide for incidental and connected purposes.
The question is that the title do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? The ayes have it. The title stands part of the bill.
The Whistleblower Protection Amendment Bill 2018. Clause 1, short title and commencement. Clause 2, amendment of Section 3 of the Whistleblower Protection Law 2015, application of law to statutory authorities and government companies.
The question is that clauses 1 and 2 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? The ayes have it. Clauses 1 and 2 stands part of the bill.
A bill for a law to amend the Whistleblower Protection Law 2015 in order to emphasize that the law applies to all employees and employers in the islands and for incidental and connected purposes.
The question is that the title do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? The ayes have it. The title stands part of the bill.
The Public Authorities Amendment Bill 2018. Clause 1, short title. Clause 2, amendment of Section 2 of the Public Authorities Law 2017, interpretation. Clause 3, amendment of Section 23, no personal liability except for negligence or bad faith. Clause 4, amendment of Section 42, recruitment and appointment of staff of a public authority. Clause 5, amendment of Section 54, liability of employees.
The question is that clauses 1 through to 5 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? The ayes have it. Clauses 1 through to 5 stands part of the bill.
A bill for a law to amend the Public Authorities Law 2017 and for incidental and connected purposes.
The question is that the title do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? The ayes have it. The title do stands part of the bill.
The Law Reform Commission Amendment Bill 2018, Clause 1, short title. Clause 2, amendment of Section 2, definitions. Clause 3, amendment of Section 4, composition of commission. Clause 4, amendment of Section 5, resignation and revocation of appointment. Clause 5, amendment of Section 6, remuneration. Clause 6, amendment of Section 8, powers and duties of commission. Clause 7, amendment of Section 9, meetings of commission. Clause 8, repeal of Section 16 and substitution rules.
The question is that clauses 1 through to 8 stands part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? The ayes have it. Clauses 1 through to 8 stands part of the bill.
A bill for a law to amend the Law Reform Commission Law 2007 revision and for incidental and connected purposes.
The question is that the title do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? The ayes have it. The title stands part of the bill.
The Criminal Procedure Code Amendment Bill 2018, Clause 1, short title. Clause 2, amendment of Section 70 of the Criminal Procedure Code 2017 revision, acquittal of accused person if no case to answer. Take 1 to 2.
The question is that clause 1 and 2 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye. Those against? The ayes have it. Clauses 1 and 2 stands part of the bill.
Clause 3, amendment of Section 75, the decision of the court.
The Honorable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chair, I seek the leave of the chair and the committee to withdraw the committee stage amendment dated 27th of June and was circulated by this House. I seek leave to withdraw that amendment. Yes, sir.
The question is that the amendment that had been circulated be withdrawn. All in favor? Those against? Permission is given for withdrawal.
Okay, so just take the vote on the clause 4 then. 3.
The question is that clause 3 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. Clause 3 stands part of the bill.
Clause 4, amendment of Section 85A, no preliminary inquiry for Category A offenses.
The question is that clause 4 do stand part of the bill. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? The ayes have it. Clause 4 stands part of the bill. Title.
There's a clause 5? Sorry, there's a clause 5?
Mr. Chairman, may I?
You want to move a clause 5 now?
Mr. Chairman, are we going to do a new clause in this?
Okay.
Honorable AG.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, in pursuant to Standing Order 52.2, I seek the leave of the chair to move the following amendment to the Criminal Procedure Code Amendment Bill 2018, that the bill be amended by inserting the following clause after clause 4, namely marginal note transitional, and that the section reads, Mr. Chairman, that this law applies to all matters being considered by the court on or before, go again. This law applies to all matters being considered by the court on or before the date of commencement of this law. Mr. Chair, let me just explain what I'm doing here. All the provisions that are in this bill stands to benefit an accused person, irrespective of when they were charged. And so it would only appear as fair that if they're currently going through the system, they should benefit from these new provisions, and hence the language that is being proposed. Thank you.
The
What?
question is that the amendment,
Mr. Chairman,
Sorry.
and the amendment has been duly moved. We consider the
Sorry.
amendment duly moved. Does any member wish to speak there too?
Mr. Chairman, can I, my apologies. I omitted to also says 5.2 in that in this section, this law means a principal law as amended by this amending law. Sorry. So make it quite clear.
The member for East End.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I wonder if it is true that the Attorney General said this serves the purpose of benefiting the accused, and I hope in the interest of natural justice that would be nice. But I wonder if Clause 4 does benefit the accused.
Mr. Chairman, Clause 4 is this provision that deals with the transmission of summary matters up to the Grand Court where they arise out of the same factual circumstances as a Class A offense. And so the accused person cannot be prejudiced by this development because they would have already been charged. And secondly, there's no likelihood of them getting any greater sentence because in respect of summary court matters, the sentences are prescribed by law, and it doesn't matter whether they're before the Grand Court or the Summer Court. It's the same sentence that can be imposed. That's
what he was asking.
That was my concern, and I guess if the time frame too, as to delayed, denied, that kind of stuff I was concerned about. Right, and so, but if you're saying that they are prescribed sentences for the case, for whatever charges there are, then, well, the accused will benefit in the category C if it's connected with A and B by virtue of only having one trial and not gonna pay the court, so pay another lawyer. Yeah, because you all would take 2 sets of fees from them, right? Okay. Friends of mine, the closer friends of yours, they're learned, my friend, and so are you. Are supposed to be learned.
We consider the amendment to have been duly moved. I think I better put the question. The question is that the amendment stand part of the clause. All those in favor, please say aye. Those against? The ayes have it. The amendment stands part of the It's a new clause, yes, yes. The clause stands part of the bill. You have read the title now? Okay.
A bill for a law to amend the Criminal Procedure Code 2017 revision to provide for consistency between the procedures in the summary court and the grand court at the conclusion of the prosecution case, to provide for the transmittal to the grand court of Category C offenses in certain instances and for incidental and connected purposes.
The question is that the title do stands part of the bill. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? The ayes have it. The title stands part of the bill. Bear in mind that we have authorized the Honorable Attorney General to make any corrections or necessary additions, which one would be the amendment that he moved, that I did not have a written copy, but that's understood. What we expect is that the Attorney General will provide that to the clerk.
Mr. Chair, so we will be guided accordingly, so thank you. We will be guided accordingly. Thank you.
The question is that the bills be reported to the House. All in favor?
Aye.
Those against? Bills will be reported to the House. Proceedings are resumed. Please be seated.
Report on bills. The Immigration Amendment Bill 2018.
Premier, immigration.
Mr. Speaker, I am to report that a bill entitled the Immigration Amendment Bill 2018 was considered by a committee of the whole House and passed with one amendment.
The bill has been duly reported and is set down for the third reading.
The Advanced Passenger Information Bill 2018.
Honorable Premier.
Mr. Speaker, I am to report that a bill entitled the Advanced Passenger Information Bill 2018 was considered by a committee of the whole House and passed without amendment.
The bill has been duly reported and is set down for the third reading.
The Utility Regulation Competition Amendment Bill 2018.
Honorable Premier.
Mr. Speaker, I am to report that a bill entitled the Utility Regulation and Competition Amendment Bill 2018 was considered by a committee of the whole House and passed without amendment.
The bill has been duly reported and is set down for the third reading.
The Information and Communication Technology Amendment Law, Bill 2018.
Honorable Premier,
Mr. Speaker, I am to report that a bill entitled the Information and Communications Technology Amendment Bill 2018 was considered by a committee of the whole House and passed without amendment.
The Traffic Amendment Bill 2018.
Honorable Minister of Commerce.
Mr. Speaker, I am to report that the Traffic Amendment Bill 2018 was considered by the Committee of the whole House and passed with amendments.
The bill has been duly reported and is set down for the third reading.
The Liquor Licensing Amendment Bill 2018.
The Minister of Commerce.
Mr. Speaker, I am to report that the Liquor Licensing Amendment Bill 2018 was considered by the Committee of the whole House and passed with amendments.
The bill has been duly reported and is set down for the third reading.
The Music and Dancing Control Amendment Bill 2018.
Minister of Commerce.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm to report that the Music and Dancing Control Amendment Bill 2018 was considered by the Committee of the whole House and passed with amendments.
The bill has been duly reported and is set down for the third reading.
The Cadet Corps Amendment Bill 2018.
The Honorable Minister of Education.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have to report that a bill shortly entitled the Cadet Corps Amendment Bill 2018 has been considered by the Committee of the whole House and was passed without amendment.
The bill has been duly reported and is set down for the third reading.
The Disaster Preparedness and Hazard Management Amendment Bill 2018.
The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I am to report that the bill shortly entitled the Disaster Preparedness and Hazard Management Amendment Bill 2018 has been considered by the Committee of the whole House and has passed with amendments.
The bill has been duly reported and is set down for third reading.
The Electricity Sector Regulation Amendment Bill 2018.
Electricity. The Honorable the Premier.
Mr. Speaker, I am to report that a bill entitled the Electricity Sector Regulation Amendment Bill 2018 was considered by a committee of the whole House and passed without amendment.
The bill has been duly reported and is set down for third reading.
The Water Sector Regulation Amendment Bill 2018.
Honorable Premier.
Mr. Speaker, I am to report that a bill entitled the Water Sector Regulation Amendment Bill 2018 was considered by a committee of the whole House and passed without amendment.
The bill has been duly reported and is set down for the third reading.
The Water Authority Amendment Bill 2018.
The Honorable the Premier, the Water Authority Amendment Bill.
Mr. Speaker, I am to report that a bill entitled the Water Authority Amendment Bill 2018 was considered by a committee of the whole House and passed without amendment.
The bill has been duly reported and is set down for the third reading.
The Conditional Release Amendment Bill 2018.
Gloria. Honorable AG.
No. Mr. Speaker, I beg to report that a bill entitled the Conditional Release Bill,
Conditional Release Amendment Bill.
Amendment 2018 was considered by a committee of the House and passed.
The bill has been duly reported and is set down for third reading.
The Trade Union Amendment Bill 2018.
Honorable Minister of Financial Services.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I am to report that the bill shortly entitled the Trade Union Amendment Bill 2018 has been considered by the Committee of the Whole House and has passed without amendment.
The bill has been duly reported and is set down for the third reading.
The Whistleblower Protection Amendment Bill 2018.
The Honorable the Acting Deputy Governor, the Whistleblower Protection Amendment Bill 2018.
Mr. Speaker, I am to report that a committee of the whole House considered a bill entitled the Whistle Protection Amendment Bill 2018 and that the bill passed without amendment.
The bill has been duly reported and is set down for third reading.
The Public Authorities Amendment Bill 2018.
The Honorable the Acting Deputy Governor.
Mr. Speaker, I am to report that a bill entitled the Public Authorities Amendment Bill 2018 was duly considered by the Committee of the Whole House and that it was passed without amendment.
The bill has been duly reported and is set down for third reading.
The Law Reform Commission Amendment Bill 2018.
The Honorable the Attorney General.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, I'm to report that a bill entitled, short title, the Law Reform Commission Amendment Bill 2018 was considered by a committee of the whole House and passed without amendment. And I should, Mr. Speaker, say that I'm omitted to thank the Honorable Premier for moving this bill in my absence. As you know, I was in court all day dealing on the matter.
The bill has been duly reported and is set down for the third reading.
The Criminal Procedure Code Amendment Bill 2018.
The Honorable the AG.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to report that a bill entitled the Criminal Procedure Code Amendment Bill 2018 was considered by a committee of the whole House and passed with one amendment. Sorry.
The bill has been duly reported and is set down for the third reading.
Third readings. The Immigration Amendment Bill 2018.
The Honorable the Premier.
Mr. Speaker, I move the third reading of a bill entitled the Immigration Amendment Bill 2018.
The question is that a bill shortly entitled the Immigration Amendment Bill 2018 be given a third reading and passed. All those in favor, please say aye. Those against, the ayes have it. The Immigration Amendment Bill 2018 has been read a third time and is passed.
The Advanced Passenger Information Bill 2018.
The Honorable the Premier.
Mr. Speaker, I move the third reading of the Advanced Passenger Information Bill 2018.
The question is that a bill shortly entitled the Advanced Passenger Information Bill 2018 be given a third reading and passed. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. The Advanced Passenger Information Bill 2018 has been read a third time and is passed.
The Utility Regulation and Competition Amendment Bill 2018.
The Honorable Deputy Mayor.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move the third reading of the Utility Regulation and Competition Amendment Bill 2018.
The question is that a bill shortly entitled the Utility Regulation and Competition Amendment Bill 2018 be given a third reading and passed. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. The Utility Regulation and Competition Amendment Bill 2018 has been read a third time and is passed.
The Information and Communications Technology Amendment Bill 2018.
Premier.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move the third reading of the Information and Communications Technology Amendment Bill 2018.
The question is that a bill shortly entitled the Information and Communications Technology Amendment Law 2018 be read a third time and passed. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the Information and Technology Communication Amendment Law 2018 has been read a third time and is passed.
Bill. The Traffic Amendment Bill 2018.
The Minister for Commerce.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move the third reading of the Traffic Amendment Bill 2018.
The question is that a bill shortly entitled the Traffic Amendment Bill 2018 be given a third reading and passed. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. The Traffic Amendment Bill 2018 has been read a third time and is passed.
The Liquor Licensing Amendment Bill 2018.
The Minister of Commerce.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move the third reading of the Liquor License Amendment Bill 2018.
The question is that a bill shortly entitled the Liquor Licensing Amendment Bill 2018 be given a third reading and passed. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. The Liquor Licensing Amendment Bill 2018 has been read a third time and is passed.
The Music and Dancing Control Amendment Bill 2018.
The Honorable Minister for Commerce.
Speaker, I rise again to beg to move the third reading of the Music and Dancing Control and Amendment Bill 2018.
The question is that a bill shortly entitled the Music and Dancing Control Amendment Bill 2018 be given a third reading and passed. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the ayes have it. The Music and Dancing Control Amendment Bill 2018 has been read a third time and is passed.
The Cadet Corps Amendment Bill 2018.
The Honorable Minister of Education.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that a bill shortly entitled the Cadet Corps Amendment Bill 2018 be given a third reading and is passed.
The question is that a bill shortly entitled the Cadet Corps Amendment Bill 2018 be given a third reading and passed. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those against, the ayes have it. The Cadet Corps Amendment Bill 2018 has been read a third time and is passed.
The Disaster Preparedness and Hazard Management Amendment Bill 2018.
The Honorable Minister of Financial Services, Home Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that a bill shortly entitled the Disaster Preparedness and Hazard Management Amendment Bill 2018 be given a third reading and is passed.
The question is that a bill shortly entitled the Disaster Preparedness and Hazard Management Amendment Bill 2018 be given a third reading and passed. All those in favor, please say aye. Those against? The ayes have it. The Disaster Preparedness and Hazard Management Amendment Bill 2018 has been read a third time and is passed.
The Electricity Sector Regulation Amendment Bill 2018.
The Honorable the Premier.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move the third reading of the Electricity Sector Regulation Amendment Bill 2018.
The question is that a bill shortly entitled the Electricity Sector Regulation Amendment Bill 2018 be given a third reading and passed. All those in favor, please say aye. Those against? The ayes have it. The Electricity Sector Regulation Amendment Bill 2018 has been read a third time and is passed.
The Water Sector Regulations Amendment Bill 2018.
Honorable the Premier.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move the third reading of the Water Sector Regulation Amendment Bill 2018.
The question is that a bill shortly entitled the Water Sector Regulation Amendment Bill 2018 be given a third reading and passed. All those in favor, please say aye. Those against? The ayes have it. The Water Sector Regulation Amendment Bill 2018 has been read a third time and is passed.
The Water Authority Amendment Bill 2018.
The Honorable the Premier.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move the third reading of the Water Authority Amendment Bill 2018.
The question is that a bill shortly entitled the Water Authority Amendment Bill 2018 be given a third reading and passed. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? The ayes have it. The Water Authority Amendment Bill 2018 has been read a third time and is passed.
The Conditional Release Amendment Bill 2018.
The Honorable the Acting Deputy Governor.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move the third reading of the bill shortly entitled the Conditional Release Amendment Bill 2018.
The question is that a bill shortly entitled the Conditional Release Amendment Bill 2018 be given a third reading and passed. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, no. The ayes have it. The Conditional Release Amendment Bill 2018 has been read a third time and is passed.
The Trade Union Amendment Bill 2018.
The Honorable the AG. The Trade Union, the Minister of Home Affairs, Financial Services, Home Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the bill shortly entitled the Trade Union Amendment Bill 2018 be given a third reading.
The question is that a bill shortly entitled the Trade Union Amendment Bill 2018 be given a third reading and passed. All those in favor, please say aye. Those against? The ayes have it. The Trade Union Amendment Bill 2018 has been read a third time and is passed.
The Law Reform Commission Amendment Bill 2018.
The Honorable Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I beg to move that the Law Reform Commission Amendment Bill 2018 be given a third reading and passed.
The question is that a bill shortly entitled the Law Reform Commission Amendment Bill 2018 be given a third reading and passed. All those in favor, please say aye. Those against? The ayes have it. The Law Reform Commission Amendment Bill 2018 has been read a third time and is passed.
The Criminal Procedure Code Amendment Bill 2018.
The Honorable the AG.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sorry. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the Criminal Procedure Code Amendment Bill 2018 be given a third reading and passed.
The question is that a bill shortly entitled the Criminal Procedure Code Amendment Bill 2018 be given a third reading and passed. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those against? The ayes have it. The Criminal Procedure Code Amendment Bill 2018 has been read a third time and is passed.
Suspension is standing in order 47.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move the suspension of Standing Order 47, that in order that the Whistleblower Protection Amendment Bill 2018 and the Public Authorities Amendment Bill 2018 may be taken through 3 readings in the course of one day.
The question is that Standing Order 47 be suspended in order for the 2 bills, the Whistleblower Protection Amendment Bill 2018 and the Public Authorities Amendment Bill 2018 be taken through all its stages. Those in favor? Aye. Those against? The ayes have it. Standing orders are suspended.
The Whistleblower Protection Amendment Bill 2018.
The Whistleblower Protection Amendment Bill, the Honorable the Acting Deputy Governor.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move the third reading of the bill shortly entitled the Whistleblower Protection Amendment Bill 2018.
The bill has been duly reported and is set down for the third reading. Clerk, the Public Authorities Amendment Bill.
You took the vote on the whistleblower?
You want separate votes?
Oh, yes, yes, sir.
I thought we had taken the vote on the third reading, but for abundance of caution, the bill has been set down for the third reading.
Sir. It's the same as what we just did. Yeah, you took 2 different, yeah, 2 votes.
She has to do the
Other one as well. Yes.
take the vote. Yes. Okay. The question is that a bill shortly entitled the Whistleblower Protection Amendment Bill 2018 be given a third reading and passed. All those in favor? Aye. Those against? The ayes have it. The Whistleblower Protection Amendment Bill 2018 has been read a third time and is passed.
The Public Authorities Amendment Bill 2018.
The Honorable, the Acting Deputy Governor.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move the third reading of the bill shortly entitled the Public Authorities Amendment Bill 2018.
The bill has been set down for the third reading. The question is that a bill shortly entitled the Public Authorities Amendment Bill 2018 be given a third reading and passed. All those in favor, please say aye. Those against, the ayes have it. The Public Authorities Amendment Bill 2018 has been read a third time and is passed.
Motions, Government Motion Number 10 of 2017-18, the Development and Planning Amendment Regulation 2018, to be moved by the Honorable Minister of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure.
Mr. Speaker, can I crave your indulgence for us to have just a look at this motion, because there's some concern that this might simply be a negative, one of those negative resolutions, and it may simply need to lay on the table of the House. I just need to check it. Just let me have a look at the motion.
Mrs.
Earlier thing.
Minister of Planning.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to move the government motion, the Development and Planning Amendment Regulation 2018. Whereas 42(1) of the Development and Planning Law 2017 revision provides that the Cabinet may make regulations, and whereas Section 42(3) of that law provides that no regulations shall be made pursuant to the law unless a draft thereof has been laid before the Legislative Assembly and a resolution approving the draft has been passed by the Legislative Assembly. And whereas on the 19th of June 2018, Cabinet duly approved the Draft Development and Planning Amendments Regulations 2018 to be laid at the earliest sitting of the Legislative Assembly. And whereas the Draft Development and Planning Amendment Regulations 2018 were laid on the table of the Legislative Assembly, be it therefore resolved that the Draft Development and Planning Amendment Regulations 2018 be approved by the Legislative Assembly in accordance with the provisions of Section 42(3) of the Development and Planning Law 2017 revision.
The motion has been moved. Does the member intend to speak to it?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this motion has to do with the area we all know of the small land area just south of the Dixie Cemetery in Georgetown. which was rezoned at the last sitting of the Assembly. Specifically, I'm referring to the land that used to be the old treehouse site and is now presently being developed into the town center's first major hotel. Then moving south, the territory encompassing the land all the way down to the open lot just north of the Whitehall Bay boat ramp. Mr. Speaker, under the present zoning of hotel tourism, or even that of the previous zoning, general commercial, that was changed at the last sitting of this honorable House, the maximum height limit is 5 stories. Mr. Speaker, the Central Planning Authority cannot issue variances that allow building heights over and above what is prescribed in the regulation.
Correct.
They have the power to vary items such as setbacks when an exceptional circumstance can be demonstrated, but that provision does not relate to height increases. Mr. Speaker, it is the intention of this amendment to create a small height adjustment to this area, which will allow a 7-story limit to exist against the surrounding 5-story context. Mr. Speaker, just for clarity, I wish to explain that there are 2 references to hotel tourism in the Development and Planning Regulations 2017 revision. The first is a base zone known as the Hotel Tourism Zone in the Development Plan, which seeks to encourage hotels and tourism-related developments on the physical land which carry this zoning, but other building uses are permissible. The other categorization is a type of overlay which is found in Schedule 4 of the regulations. For example, the Hotel Tourism Zone 1 lies from coast to coast, overlaying the 7 Mile Beach area between the West Bay and Dixie cemeteries. Any hotels or apartments developments occurring within the overlay are granted a height increase of up to 10 stories. Mr. Speaker, if, however, the development was a commercial building, they could only build up to the typical 5-story limit. In this overlay zone, the height provision is geared towards 2 specific building types instead of a general height limit for all developments as it is in the base zone. So, Mr. Speaker, I therefore seek the support of the honorable members of this House and commend the Development and Planning Amendments Regulation 2018 for passage.
Does any other member wish to speak? If no other member wishes to speak, I'll call on the mover.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just like to say thank you to the members for their support this evening.
The question is, be it therefore resolved that the draft Development and Planning Amendment Regulation 2018 be approved by the Legislative Assembly in accordance with the provisions of Section 42(3) of the Development and Planning Law 2017 revision. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? The ayes have it. The motion passed.
Other business, private member motions. Private member motion number 14 of 2017-18, Cayman Social Mobility, to be moved by the Deputy Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, I wish to seek the leave of the House to defer that motion till the next sitting. Motion.
You need to move
Okay.
a motion that
Number 14. Yeah. Mr. Speaker, I wish to move that private member's motion number 14, 2017-2018 be deferred until the next sitting of the House. Meeting.
next
Sorry.
meeting, the next meeting of the House. Who's seconding the motion? The member for Georgetown, Bordentown West.
I'll second it, Mr. Speaker.
The motion is that this private member's motion number 14 be carried over until the next meeting of the House. All in favor? Those against? The motion is carried.
Private member motion number 19 of 2017-18, motion to introduce minimum sentences for child molesters, to be moved by the elected member for Bordentown West.
The honorable member for Bordentown West.
Good night, Mr. Speaker. I would, I guess in the interest of time and recognizing how emotive this topic is, and the amount of members that would want to speak on it, I would like to defer this motion, like seek leave of this House to defer this motion until the to the next sitting, the next meeting of the House.
Seconded,
I beg to second, Mr. Speaker.
but member for Savannah seconds. Question is that the private member's motion number 19 be deferred until the next meeting of the House, God willing. All in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. The motion is deferred until the next meeting of the House.
Private member motion number 15 of 2017-18, motion to introduce performance incentive compensation in the civil service, to be moved by the elected member for Bordentown West.
Bordentown West.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Again, this is another motion that I understand that many members would also like to speak on, and in the interest of time, I would like to ask leave of those to defer this motion until the next meeting of this honorable House.
The question is, seconded by the Leader of the Opposition. The question is that private member's motion, number 15, be deferred until the next meeting of the House. All in favor? Those against? Private member's motion, number 15, is deferred until the next meeting of the House.
Private member motion number 13 of 2017-18, Newlands Public Transport Routes, to be moved by the Deputy Leader of the Opposition.
Honorable Deputy Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move private member's motion number 13 of 2017-2018, titled Newlands Public Transportation Routes, which reads as follows. Whereas the constituency of Newlands is not currently serviced by public transportation, and whereas public transportation users, either leaving or traveling to the constituency of Newlands, must often walk long distances in excess of 2 miles to reach their destination or to get on a public bus, and whereas many households and related individuals in the constituency of Newlands are impacted by the lack of direct public bus service in and out of their communities, and whereas public transport users who wish to disembark closer to their destination in the constituency of Newlands are expected to pay an additional fare to the bus operator, be it therefore resolved that the government considers creating permanent public transportation routes which serve the most populous areas of the constituency of Newlands, with schedules coinciding with the peak usage hours of individuals who want to travel to or from the constituency of Newlands.
The
Mr. Speaker,
member
I
for
beg to second the
Bordentown.
motion.
Sorry, the member from Savannah. Seconded by the member from Savannah. Is the member speaking there too?
Mr. Speaker, extremely briefly, I just wanted to say thanks to the government for, after some intense negotiation, we have agreed on a way forward with this motion, and I will simply wait for the minister to respond, and then we can all vote. Thank you.
Does any other member wish to speak? Honorable Deputy Premier.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it's been such a spirit of cooperation today. I don't think we could have said no to the Deputy Leader of the Opposition.
Yes, sir, yes, then that's it.
But I do realize that I stand between us and going home tonight, so I will be brief as well.
Yes.
The
Brevity is in order.
The government understands the need for transportation in the country. The government was pleased when this motion was brought. We looked at it from a holistic standpoint, and I just touch on a few things that this government completely realizes that the transportation of a country is an infrastructural demand. And it is also a desperate need for the public that are going from work in the eastern districts to Georgetown. It's also a need in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. So as we look at how we address that, we realize that that has to be a longer term plan. And that there are a lot of things that take place because the value of the time that you spend in transportation, going to and fro, is something that can be quantified, and it has a real effect on your GDP of the country. So we look at that and commit that we are working and understanding the need to it. But what the member has done is brought a specific need of people in his constituency, which is a need that's shared across the country. And we are taking it very seriously. The public bus service in the Cayman Islands provides an invaluable benefit for the traveling residents. Currently, there are 3 bus routes that pass along Hearst Road in Newlands. However, as mentioned by the mover of the motion, the public can pay an additional charge to disembark at a point off the route and close to the destination. What that basically means is that they don't get close to their home or where they actually live. So, Mr. Speaker, what I would like to say is, going along with my early comments, that the importance of this from a public transport to the Cayman Islands, the ministry had a retreat in the last 2 weeks. This retreat included participation from the ministry, the Department of Tourism, public transport, private sector, and public transport unit. The retreat included strategic planning, rapid situational analysis, and the drafting of short and long-term goals. I look forward to sharing these goals with the public and seeking their input in the very near term. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, the government is minded to consider reviewing the overall public bus service with the aim of creating greater efficiencies for our traveling public. I was going to say to the mover that there would be a consideration that he might want to think about, that in his resolve section, it says that the government considers creating permanent public transportation routes which serve the most populous areas, constituency of Newlands, with schedules coinciding with the peak usage hours of individuals who want to travel to and from the constituency of Newlands. I would like to say that we are looking at this as the most populous areas of the Cayman Islands, with schedules coinciding with the peak usage hours of individuals who want to travel. That's what we're committing to. If that can be accepted, I don't even think we have to make an amendment, just so there's an understanding that this is going to be something we're going to do across the country. Okay? Yeah. Therefore, I'm happy to say that the government is happy to accept the motion.
Since no other member wishes to speak, we'll ask the mover if he wishes to.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And just to say, again, thank you to the government for working with us to get this resolved. And I'll take 19 over 1 any day. So that just to say thanks to all members. And I look forward to the minister confirming to us when the change will happen. Thank you.
The question is, be it therefore resolved that the government considers commissioning an independent study of the factors. No. I think I was reading the wrong motion. 13, 14. 13, motion number 13. Be it therefore resolved that the government considers creating permanent public transportation routes which serve the most populous areas with the consistency of Newlands, with schedules coinciding with the peak usage hours of individuals who want to travel to or from the constituency of Newlands, and we have understood that that is taken to mean throughout the country. All those in favor? Aye. Those against? The ayes have it, the motion is carried.
Private member motion number 16 of 2017-18, motion on traffic concerns, to be moved by the elected member for East End.
The elected member for East End. I was hoping you were going to be less enthusiastic than I am.
I hope to God not. You'll probably be in a grave. Mr. Speaker, thank you. I beg to withdraw motion number 16.
Boy.
The advent of the changes the ministers just brought will necessitate me changing that to get other things brought to the Legislative Assembly.
The question is that motion number 16 be withdrawn. All in favor? Aye. Those against? The motion has been withdrawn.
Private member motion number 17 of 2017-2018, motion on national crime strategy, to be moved by the honorable leader of the opposition.
The Honorable, the Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish to move that motion number 17, motion on national crime strategy, standing in my name, be withdrawn because this motion was related to the functionality of the National Security Council, and I'm happy to report that that council is now functioning properly.
The motion is that sorry.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to second the motion.
Seconded by the elected member for Savannah. The motion is that motion number 17 is withdrawn due to the new functioning of the National Security Council. All in favor? Aye. Those against? The motion has been withdrawn.
Private member motion number 18 of 2017-2018, motion to reduce availability of drugs in Her Majesty's Prison Northward, to be moved by the honorable leader of the opposition.
The Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I beg to request that private members motion number 18, motion to reduce availability of drugs in Her Majesty's Northwest Prison be deferred because I'm still getting reports that it's a problem until the next meeting.
The motion is that, the question is that the private member's motion number 18 be deferred until the next meeting of the House. Seconded
I beg to second the motion, Mr. Speaker.
by the elected member for Savannah. All in favor? Aye. Those against? The motion has been deferred. The Honorable, the Premier.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to again thank all members of this honorable House and your good self and the staff, the hard-working, long-suffering staff of the LA for working with us and facilitating the completion of the agenda. It's been an incredibly productive meeting, although very intense and stressful to get through this amount of work. Mr. Speaker, I also want to thank members for being so reasonable and cooperative and us being able to achieve our collective goals and doing what all of us believe is in the best interest of the country and the people we serve. Mr. Speaker, I can say to members that at the moment, the government is considering the first Wednesday in September as the start of the next meeting of the House. We had previously agreed that we would try to leave the months of July and August available to members and their families to be able to have summer vacations or whatever they need to do. The only slight departure from that is the need for a Finance Committee meeting on Tuesday, which has already been announced, but I do not believe that will take a great deal of time. We've already discussed with members of the opposition at least one of the principal areas that we hope to address there. So I believe the Minister has called, Finance has called a meeting for 10, and I see no reason why we shouldn't be through that by lunchtime. So Mr. Speaker, with those words, I move the adjournment of this House sine die.
The question is, this Honorable Legislative Assembly do stand adjourned sine die. All in favor? Aye. Those against? The House stands adjourned.